On this podcast, we talk about dog training advice, and all sorts of stuff like that all the time. So I'm going to take a little bit of step to the side, and this time I'm going to be talking about some fun, maybe unknown facts about dogs. So let's go ahead and get into those next. All right, let's go ahead and get this week's episode going. Hey, everybody. I am Jake. I am from OndogTrainingAcademy.com. If you're watching us on YouTube, hi, how you doing? You can see me here. If you're watching, or I should say listening to us via any of the other apps for podcasting, thank you guys for listening. You can't see me, but that might be okay for you. But thank you guys for listening. Thank you guys for watching. It's always very, very, very appreciated. So, like I said, guys, I'm from OndogTrainingAcademy.com. We're an online dog training business. We are putting out webinars, courses. We do one-on-one virtual training as well. And we're just starting to produce more content, and we're getting really excited about it. Our newest venture that we're having is we are putting out here, if you're listening to us from the release date, it is March still. And in April, we are going to be having a live socialization webinar that we are going to be putting out that will then be for sale after that as well, as a pre-recorded a webinar. And it's going to go over socializing. We're getting into spring here. People are getting puppies. We're thinking about training. We're thinking about getting them out. And we just want to make sure you guys are doing it correctly and making sure you're taking advantage of everything that is around you to use when it comes to socializing, and that you're doing it correctly and setting your dogs up for a lifelong of success. We want to make sure these dogs are rock stars forever. So keep that in mind. You can jump over to our Facebook. You can jump over to our website, OndogTrainingAcademy.com, and you can go ahead and take a look there under live events. You will see the socialization webinar, and you can sign up there. You can get pre-registered, and you will be part of our live session. So we're pretty excited about that. We're ready to talk about puppies and young dogs and socializing and just everything that comes along with it. So definitely give that a check. Otherwise, or also you guys can check us out Facebook, Instagram, and of course, YouTube, unless you're already here. If you're here on YouTube, awesome. Thank you. Welcome. And I would definitely like for you guys to hit that like button and subscribe to our channel so you get the updates whenever our new videos come out. And they come out every Thursday, unless I feel like there's an episode that needs to be aired a little bit sooner. We did one, I think, last week about National Dog Day, or Puppy Day, I should say. And so I did put that out a day early, but we do try to get a weekly one out on Thursdays. They become live at midnight. So thank you guys, whether you're YouTube podcast, thank you guys for listening. Let's dive into this week's episode. So like I said, it's March. The weather's been fairly warm for quite a while. And then all of a sudden, snow's melting, yard's back, starting to do more training outside. Super excited about that. And then it starts to get a little bit colder, and then today we get hit with a bunch of snow. And it's super depressing, and it's snowy, icy, wet, gross outside. So I decided, you know what, I'm going to have a little fun with this week's episode. And I want to talk about some fun facts that some you may not know, some you may know, but some you may not know, or at least maybe forgot about, just to keep it light. I want to keep this light and fun and happy today. Nothing super serious. It's just kind of going to make you think a little bit and go, well, holy cow. And, maybe this enlightens you a little bit to how your dog acts, why your dog acts. So we'll go into these fun 8 facts about dogs. So number 1, dogs. Everyone knows dogs' ears are very flexible, right? You can twist them. It's basically like, I call them, they're basically their third and fourth eye, where they almost can watch you by pivoting their ears around. Like, you could have a dog who's not even looking at you, and you could say their name, or you could be talking. You can watch that ear fold towards you, or like kind of like satellite right to you, and you're like, okay, my dog's listening to me. They're almost like eyes. But did you know that dogs have 18 muscles in their ear? Now you might go, well, that's not much of a surprise. 18 muscles with how flexible they are. Well, humans, sorry guys, we only have 6. So the dogs have significantly more muscles in their ears than we do. Not much of a surprise, I don't think, but it's kind of an interesting thing to think about. 18 muscles. all the things they can do with these ears. So that's pretty cool. Number 2 then is the dog's nose. So everyone knows dog's nose is super cute. It's like the human fingerprint. It's a unique identification. Not any nose print is the same as the other. And there's actually now, I've seen some studies on this, or not even studies, just some things coming out where there's apps coming out where you can load your dog's nose print. Yes, this is a thing. You can load your dog's nose print into this app, and it become identification for your dog. And if your dog goes missing, and this people who find your dog can scan their nose, they can actually potentially get a positive match on who this dog is. So it's almost like a microchip or an identification on your dog that's just always there, assuming your dog always has a nose. And I'm pretty sure your dog will probably always have a nose. If you have a noseless dog, I'm sorry, you're kind of not included in this, but I'm pretty sure everyone's dogs have noses. But yeah, so the nose is a very unique fingerprint style marking on the dog. So I thought that was pretty neat. The next one, this is something that I think people kind of knew already, but it just gives you a little bit more sense, is dogs' whiskers. So, dogs have whiskers. They got those long things coming off their face, and some people want to trim them down. I always say, don't trim the dog's whiskers, don't trim them. And now this kind of makes sense. Dogs' whiskers help them navigate when the visual, say it's dark, visibility's low, whatever. Their whiskers help them navigate. They're basically like little feelers. They have a ton of little nerves. They're just, these whiskers are packed with nerves, and these nerves are sending signals up to the dog's brain and letting them know, oh, you're touching something, oh, you're bumping something, or oh, it kind of gives them more directional ability. So, if you're thinking about grooming your dogs and you're going to trim up their whiskers, don't do it. I wouldn't do it. Like, the dogs need them. We want the dogs to be able to navigate at night and in the dark. And their eyesight probably helps with that as well. But, let's give them their whiskers too. So I found that kind of cool, kind of interesting. The next one then, this would be number 4. Dogs are not fully colorblind. So everyone, I think, kind of knows the going thing that, okay, dogs don't see color, and they don't see color like we do. However, they do see some colors. They see shades of yellow and blue. And so how does this benefit us, or what does this do for us? Well, this might be understanding on why your dogs prefer certain toys over the others. Maybe your dog prefers a blue toy over a red toy because, well, they see the blue toy better. Or, somebody wearing a yellow sweater gets them more excited because that's a color that stands out more to them. How I take this is, if I'm doing a trial or if I'm doing something with my dog, I should probably have something on that resembles a blue or yellow as almost an identification marker, so my dog knows, hey, come to this color. It's something that can definitely help. And, when you're playing with toys and stuff, like if you're going to be launching toys out into the fields or somewhere where the dog could lose it, maybe have them be a yellow or blue ball or a toy or something like that, just to kind of help. So dogs are not fully colorblind, mostly colorblind, but they can see yellows and blues and shades, various shades within that, of course. Now the next one is actually something I had to do a little extra research in to kind of see, is this really the case? And yeah, it really seems to be the case. And this is that thunderstorms can actually be painful to your dog. Now, there's the obvious way that, thunder, lightning, stuff like that, or I should just say thunder, is very loud. And, we talked about the muscles in the ears. Well, they can also hear. Dogs can hear significantly better than we can as well. And just a side note fact, did you know that small dogs hear better than large dogs? It's true. Anyways, so what does this mean? Well, the frequencies when the storm comes in can really affect the dog, and it can be painful to their ears. And so when your dog is freaking out, it might be the sound, but it also could be a feeling they're getting. So maybe it hurts their ears. Another way it hurts is when the pressure changes and stuff, it kind of, like, you get a lot of lightning and things. You might hear weather people talk about, well, the air is very staticky, or it's loaded, or whatever. And that can actually affect the dog and get in their hair and do different things, and can actually be very uncomfortable to them. So that buildup kind of is uncomfortable. So there's a couple ways that your dog could be afraid of thunder that you might not be considered yet, being that, okay, it could be the noise, but what about the noise? Is it the noise, or is it the fact that maybe the noise hurts. So I think if you notice your dog doing this, having them away, having them somewhere where it can be a little bit quieter, definitely ideal. Leaving them outside where they have to deal with the big booms, probably not ideal. And it's not ideal either way because I don't want my dog getting rained on. Anyways, so the next thing then is let's talk about their sense of smell. So it shouldn't be, it's definitely not a surprise. People can be like, yeah, of course we know dogs can smell better than humans. We've seen it. I do tracking with my dog, and watching him track, it blows my mind how I can age something. I can age a track I did one 2 weeks ago that was 25 hours old, and he got on that odor on that track, and he tracked it like it was nothing. He's like, yeah, it's this way. This is the way I go. I did one with him 2 days ago. The same thing. He was just like so sure of it, and that was about 9 hours old. So it's just amazing how their noses work. Now, if I got on the ground and started sniffing around, I don't think I would have smelled what he was smelling. So it's not a surprise. But did you know that the dog's sense of smell is 40 times better than ours? 40. So you imagine that? Like, the dog probably is able to like dissect an entire meal. Like you're cooking like chili, and your dog, when chili's cooking and stuff in like a crock pot, you're like, man, it smells like chili. But your dog's gonna be like, oh man, I smell beans and meat. Don't at me if you're not a meat person in chili. This isn't the time. But if they smell the meat, they're like, oh, you got beef. Ooh, that's a good cut of meat you're using. Or, ooh, you're using these vegetables. Oh, that sauce you're using is, they can dissect smells so well. I know that a couple things that I do when I'm training nosework dogs is I do what's called cocktailing. So I will take multiple odors. So, for instance, one thing I'm teaching our dog Luda right now to do is to track deer for hunters who shoot and then can't find their deer. So he's actually going to be trained to go find them. And I'm not only using the gland smell that comes from the between the deer's toes, I'm using the deer's own odor itself to track, and I'm also using blood. I'm also using different fluids that the deer may produce, and I kind of cocktail it all together, meaning it kind of mixes together. And when I smell it, and yes, I have smelt what I'm tracking my dog for. When I smell it, it smells just gross. That is when I smell it, I'm not going to go, ooh, am I catching hints of liver? Is that a hint of dirt? Like, whatever. I'm not. I just smell gross. But when Luda smells it, he's able to go and break down the different odors that are in there. And then if I were to remove all those odors except for one and put that odor on the trail on its own, he would still recognize it as one of the ones that were cocktailed, and he would track that odor going, yep, I recognize that. That's one of the ones I look for, and he will track to that. So I find it very interesting that dogs are able to do that. Now, the next one, this is number 7. The next one kind of gets, this is an area where I guess it depends how you look at it. So I've been talking about all these awesome things and how dogs are kind of like, they have better hearing. They have better sight. We know that. Better hearing, better sight to a degree than we do. They probably can run. Well, they can run faster. They can do all this stuff. But there's one thing. There's probably more. But in the facts for today, there's one thing that we are better at than dogs. And that is taste. And I'm okay with that. It answers some questions to me on why dogs eat certain things. But sense of taste. So humans, or I should say dogs, have about an average of about 1,700 taste buds. So 1,700, that sounds like a lot, right? Sounds like a lot of taste buds. The average human, 9,000. So we can taste significantly better. Why that is? Well, I don't know. I didn't go that in depth into why. Maybe it's because dogs have to eat, or wild animal, canine type dogs eat meats and things that maybe aren't the best, maybe a little bit spoiled or something, and their digestive tracts can handle it better than ours, and so we need to be able to taste when things don't taste right. Doesn't really explain why our sense of smell isn't great, but you kind of get the hint. And like I said, I get it, and it makes sense, because you look at your dog and you're like, why are you eating that? It's not food. And your dog thinks, that's great. I'm eating this chunk of dirt out in the woods or something, and you're like, whoa. Or why your dog's eating rabbit poop, or why your dog's eating, you name it, it kind of makes sense because your dog isn't tasting, like if I were to eat it and taste it, I'd taste significantly more than what he is tasting. So they're a little bit more bland with that, and I found that really interesting. So that might be also why some treats just aren't valuable to your dog, because they just don't hold. They're just not a strong enough flavor for your dog to go, yeah, that's good. The next one and the last one is dogs sweating. So we all know dogs pant when they're tired, right? Stick their tongue out, they're panting, everything like that. But how do dogs sweat? Well, dogs do sweat, and it comes from their feet. Dogs sweat through their feet. And so I think it's really telling, and why I always recommend to people to really be aware of surface surface temperature. When you're walking your dog on pavement, even on grass, different things that are going to be maybe a little too warm. I think it's just a good practice to kind of make sure it's not too hot for them. Obviously, we don't want them to injure their feet. We don't want them to get burn marks or anything like that, but they're also going to be doing a little bit excess sweating. And if we can keep their feet cool, it's going to help with that. So when you are, like, if you stop, if you've been running with your dog or doing something like that, and you come to a stop and you want to give your dog a water break, put a little bit of water on their feet, cool their feet down, because that is where, like I said, where they sweat from. You might even notice at times when your dog is super hot, if they get up and walk around, you'll see sweat prints on the ground. It's because they're warm. So anyways, so that is 8 fun facts that you either knew, didn't know, or maybe got a little bit more information on about dogs. I think I'm going to do this periodically, just throw out more facts, random facts here and there, just because I think this is really fascinating. And I think the more we understand dogs, the better. Even though these are fun facts, I call these fun facts. Understanding how dogs smell or taste, or how they see certain things, how we can keep them cool, all these different things. I think this is all super valuable information in our interactions with our dogs. How we perceive, or how we understand what our dogs are maybe feeling, thinking, smelling, whatever. I just think these facts are also helpful. They're fun, but they're also super helpful. So hopefully, guys, this was educational. Hopefully, at the very least, you smiled at least one time. That seems to be my goal in all of these podcasts or videos, is I want you guys to just smile. Just one time, just go, even if it's at my expense, it's fine. I don't care. I think smiling's super, super contagious. I think smiling is a good thing to do every day, and Lord knows we need to smile more these days. So definitely smile, have fun, share this with your friends, let them smile. Let's make them smile. And educate them with some fun little facts about dogs that maybe will help them down the road. So thank you, guys. Like I mentioned at the beginning, check out our socialization seminar, or webinar, I should say, that we're going to be doing here in April. Check that out. Sign up for it. It's not very expensive. I think it's like $24 or something like that. You're going to get an hour of good information. You're going to be able to ask questions in the live feed. So definitely sign up for that. And you can check it out on our website, ondogtrainingacademy.com, and click on live events. If you need any help other than that, you can go and sign up for a one-on-one where you can talk with me, work with me, and let me know what's going on with your dog. We want to help you guys. We want to make sure everybody and their dogs are doing well. So feel free to sign up for a one-on-one with us, and let's chat and see if we can help. So thank you, guys, and as always, we'll see you next week.